Alright, how's it going, everyone? It's Triple T, and I'm giving my fall 2024 reflection in February 2025 because I can and I want to. If it's of any consolation, I didn't make an Instagram post for my birthday until a few days later. Much like any of my other reflection posts, let me know how you enjoyed your fall 2024 semester, and I will always have a home for you on my channel if you'd like to talk about your experiences. I don't have much to comment on with my expectations for the semester. To me, it was just going to be another. Long and challenging, but I'd get through it. Now, here's where it's going to get interesting. We had physiology for all of first block, renal, cardio, and pulm. To be direct, I had a horrible time with this block. It was not my favorite material, and it could have been taught much more effectively. I had to learn a lot of the material through third party to prepare myself for the board side, but I couldn't really piece it all together for the in-house exams. I also didn't know where to find questions to prepare myself for what was to come. When I waited outside the testing room for pre-com, I felt okay, but the moment I sat at my desk, the panic settled in. I fidgeted the entire time. I didn't know what they meant by the questions or answer choices at least half the time. Yet when I actually learned the material, I felt like I understood it, and I should have at least passed with what I actually knew. I couldn't really say that anything left my brain as much as I wasn't processing the exam properly. After the exam, we had a lot of new lectures that did not reinforce anything we learned before then. We were always switching between different units of physiology. So I was also not the utmost comfortable with the new lecturer, and I felt even worse going into the comp than the pre-comp. My attitude just leaked into my performance. It was the worst I had done in the entirety of my med school career thus far, maybe in my entire academic record. It is safe to say that I was completely broken when I first started Block 2. I was asking myself why I even bothered when I didn't know how to take the school's exams. I felt that no matter what I knew, I would never receive the proper compensation and my efforts were futile. I could not absorb the material effectively when I trapped myself in this defeatist mindset. I knew that things needed to change. It was time for me to regain control over my life. I consulted several resources. Students who had remediated, higher-performing classmates, enrichment, and the Counseling and Wellness Center. I learned a lot from these contacts. Some changes I made included contacting professors when I didn't understand something from lectures, using First Aid on Scholar RX to narrow my studying, refusing to check off 50-50 guesses on exams until I wanted to lock in, and closing my eyes and focusing before starting an exam. People in the testing room would ask if I was meditating, and I wasn't actually embarrassed to admit it, even if I might have looked slightly stupid. I couldn't believe that the trick to success was discovering this harmony within myself. I still ran into trouble with the exams sometimes, but 7 questions wrong in, let's say, the 40 to 49 question range could no longer deter me. I made back my points elsewhere, even after the very difficult block of questions. I carried these strategies through Block 3, and I performed approximately as well as I did in Block 2. These were my 2 highest comp scores since I started medical school. I have grown a lot from failing my first block of second year, and I am confident that these lessons will stick with me until the end of the year at the very least. I do not know how studying will work in third year, and I'm not an Anki person, so I'll have to wait and see how this all will play out. I did not feel as strongly about this semester's topics as I would have liked. I never felt a drive toward urology from the very beginning, and a vendetta against the physiology will not help me favor a specialty change. Also didn't feel anything from the pathology. I recognize how important renal is, but it's just not really interesting to me personally. Do I really want to be surrounded by P for the next few decades of my life after residency? I don't think so. I'm just kidding, I'd love that. Anyway, it's just not for me. The cardiology was one of the more interesting units we've covered thus far, maybe even one of my favorites. The EKG lectures were very well put together. For some reason, I also really enjoyed the cardiomyopathies and the pediatric cardiac conditions, and trust me, I do not like pediatrics. So, Dr. Chen, amazing job. I had to synthesize the understanding behind cardiac murmurs by connecting them to the cardiac cycle, but once I understood all of the murmurs, it felt really good. It's too bad that cardiology is extremely competitive and I'm not a research person, or else I would have considered it in the future. My attitude towards pulmonology is similar towards that of urology. I just never really cared about it, to be honest, nor did I after learning about it in detail. My lowest point in the semester was actually not underperforming on the first block. I would have to give it to receiving a rejection from the scholar program. I remembered I was at Rock City Boxing when the email came in. The first class went amazingly. The energy was radiating and the boxers were killing it to my playlist. Early in the second class, I refreshed my emails as I always do, and I saw the email that would absolutely crush me. Everyone and everything in the room just vanished. I thought that if I didn't get the academic medicine degree, it would weaken my application if I were to apply to become a professor in the future, as if I were shut out of a future career. I spoke with a very good man who would help me navigate the situation and help me realize it wasn't the end of the world. I love you, Dr. Morgan. I doubt you're watching this, but if you are, I love you, man. It still stands that there is no better group to teach than the students here, but on the bright side, I will be graduating on time. I'm going off script, but congratulations to all the new scholars, especially you, Kyle. I love you, man. My highest point was easily osteoblast. I worked extensively with the morale committee and the venue to ensure that everything would come out well, and it appeared to be extremely successful. Working at the front desk checking in attendees was very stressful, and everyone else who was doing it with me, but once everything came together, instant relief. Everyone was dancing and having an amazing time, including myself. The vibes of the venue, the energy of the attendees, all incredible. People were outwardly appreciative towards our efforts, and I was really happy about how everything fell into place. I hope that the next SGA officer may host Osteoblast at the same location next year. I will give an honorable mention to OMED also. I had a great time with my fellow SGA officers, and it was an honor to meet Dr. Kevin O'Connor, former President Biden's physician. I will say, though, that it felt very weird to go to San Antonio after the first block, after everything that went down, but just having this experience with the other SGA officers and all the inside jokes was definitely worthwhile and extremely memorable. Overall, my fall 2024 semester was okay. Failing the first block material brought me an intense amount of stress for a good amount of weeks that I certainly didn't need, and the rejection from the scholar program was very difficult for me to swallow for quite a long time. There wasn't a crazy amount of memorable stuff going on, but I thoroughly enjoyed Osteoblast, and it felt really good to learn how to take exams again for the first time in like 2 years, something like that. Oof, wow. I'll rate the semester a 6 out of 10. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed already and you enjoyed the video, come follow my medical school journey. Triple T, out.